Welcome to YouTube Gaming.
This is the coffee stream.
Yes.
These are my guests. Arlena and Crisis.
Right before we went live, he was like, guys, this is my stream, and you're just really guests on my stream now.
Yeah,
so apparently, this is coffee stream. A weekly coffee stream. Weekly
Welcome.
sit-down.
Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for
having us. Yeah.
Weekly sit-down with coffee.
Yes.
There's been a lot of coffee this week.
Yeah, I imagine.
Maybe too much coffee.
Well, yeah.
I don't know.
There should be some tea thrown in there.
There may not be coffee for a while. I'm worried people have been over-caffeinated, right?
Yes.
Yeah?
Oh, man.
Okay, cool.
You tried there. You tried.
Well, happy Friday, everyone. Of course, thank you for joining us today. We are in our final day of preview week. So this is the final moment where, hour, I guess, where we're going to talk about some last remaining details on the Springville season content that's coming up next week. So that's the two dragons, Samrad and Famar. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong for sure.
You are.
I know, and I
Saura and 4.
Is it really 4?
Yep.
Like the number 4?
Yes.
We've talked about this.
We have
I'm
talked
being
about
called
it.
out here.
We had people on stream yesterday say that we were correct.
And I know Poseidon was also letting us know about it, so I apologize on behalf of my terrible pronunciations, but those two dragons.
So you come on my stream, you're going to talk about the dragons the right way. Okay?
All right. I'm sorry. Forgive me, please.
Don't ask me.
Well,
ask for.
apparently, according to one of the comments, it is not your stream. It's a squirrel stream.
Oh.
Don't you? Squirrel.
Trump is all. PG Squirrel is totally in charge now.
Oh, yes. I totally didn't notice that.
That we're color-coded? Yeah. It is, yeah, that's true. Yeah. We try. We didn't try at all, but you know. So, those two dragons, as well as the Dragon Rider Teres. So, those are the ones coming up for Springville. And then we're also going to get PG Squirrel in here, a.k.a. the apparently preview week master here, to talk about Kingdom Wars.
Preview week apprentice.
Okay. Quelling
goodness.
some expectations here.
Quelling them down.
Yes, indeed.
All right, so the giveaway today is going to be 5 energy packs and 5 inner fires. So make sure to drop your in-game name into chat. We will pick winners around Sunday. It's usually when I get to them. So keep an eye on your in-game account. I have nothing better for that one. I was like, in-game, never mind. Treasury, isn't that what that's called? When you do that, I don't remember what it's called. I just open it and I know.
Yeah,
never mind. Just check your game for a gift from us on Sunday. Kingdom Wars is not the next event.
It will be the next event in 2 weeks, but not the next week's event.
It is 2 weeks away.
Yeah, we have a pretty standard rotation, so I think most of you have been able to figure out what's coming next week.
Mm-hmm.
I may also have let it slip on yesterday's stream.
I was going to say, you also let it slip.
It's public knowledge at this point. So actually, for those of you who are interested in knowing any more about the dragons that we'll talk about today, we had all of this stuff happen on our preview week. So Wednesday on Twitch and then Thursday on Facebook Live. We had PG Coffee as well as PG Squirrel join us to talk about different aspects of this content and the event itself. So if you want all of the information, please check out those other streams. And then next week, once the second wave of Springville content actually becomes a real tangible thing, we'll have a whole blog post out about it as well, so you can read that.
Yep, and we'll talk more about, I don't have any more specifics on the spells to share with you from yesterday, because we're still balancing them, and so I can't, unfortunately, share anything. I know someone asked about a trap's area of effect size, and that's something that is actually, I went and talked with our designers, and they are currently working on balancing that.
Yeah, I've been seeing some conversations floating around there.
So, discussing that with our players, trying to figure it out. Obviously, a white disable, the splash size of that spell, really big impact on the power of that spell.
Yep.
So they're trying to get that just right.
Yeah. Sounds good.
So if you missed the last stream, the new event is Kingdom Wars. We actually will be talking about it a little bit later. We'll be talking about it with PG Squirrel, who will pop on.
Don't. All right. Yes, I leaked that breeding was the next event. This is my stream, okay? You don't get to kick me out of my stream for Squirrel. Gosh.
Oh, goodness. He's very defensive of people worrying that he's worried Squirrel's going to replace him.
Oh, it's okay, Coffee. You'll always be Coffee to us.
Even if I'm discarded coffee. Trash
Instant
coffee.
coffee.
Instant coffee. Just some Folgers coffee over here. All right.
Oh, goodness.
Well, anyway, let's get started on this, shall we? All right, so I'll be the resident presentation clicker over here.
Yes, please do.
Let us
right.
begin.
Hey, Springville.
Woo!
All right.
All right.
So we've gone through this slide every time, but this is the end of the Springville unveiling for the season. So starting Wednesday, this will be the full Springville season. We have the 4 legendary dragons, and then we have the mythic dragon Korthanak and the veteran rider Teres, who is going to be discussed today. Thank you. And then we have the egg token branch and our discount rider Oksana. So after today, you'll have really all the information. I guess Tuesday, when you get more specifics on the exact spells and their stats and functionality, you'll be able to make a fully informed decision as to where you want to go. There won't be any discounts on any of these branches, so no need to save up anticipating discounts. This is the season.
Yeah, so this is it. This is exactly what you will expect. So by next week, all of these will be available for you.
All right, so just wanted to do a brief review of what we talked about yesterday.
It says turret in my face, by the way.
Yes, your face is a turret right now.
Oh, goodness.
It was that the fire turret has like the angry. It's the angry. You need to be like an angry dragon right now. That's what the fire turret looks like.
I don't know if I can just move my face like that.
You shoot fireballs. Yeah. No, you roll. Okay. All right. Let's start with Saura. We have Summer's Purification, Northern Lights Dark, Solar Strike, Fire Turret Resist. Already seen some discussions on the forums as to what exactly these spells do based off of the description we provided yesterday. Again, we'll provide more detailed information next week. Cool. Let's go to 4.
Moving on.
So 4 is our Hunter Dragon with Autumn's Reap, Entrap, Vanish, and Ice Turret Resist. So as the tree indicates, if you unlock both these dragons fully, the full branch of both of these dragons, then you unlock our our veteran rider.
See? I've heard it even happens to you.
Oh my gosh. Okay. The veteran rider, Teres. So let's talk about Teres, shall we? There's been a lot of discussion about Teres. Teres is the Druid of the Flame.
Teres also got a little bit of a makeover for any of you who tuned into our previous streams. You may notice that Teres is a little more autumn leaf red instead of the vibrant summer green.
He is lit with the inner fire. He is lit. Teres is lit.
Oh, man.
Yes, he's been lit with the inner fire. He is our veteran dragon rider.
Yes.
Of course, as with all dragon riders, you can equip them with gear from any element. Teres's branch will have fire element gear in it. So should you choose to do so, you could take Teres and put gear from another dragon rider on him if you wanted to use him on a different dragon. So the fire element here is just indicating the color of the gear. So his gear can only be used on dragon riders that are on a fire element dragon. But you can swap the gear and riders around.
Yeah. Daniela, I know you posted in chat if you can see the dragons flying. Yes, but not this week. So the dragons aren't entirely ready to go. Like PG Coffee was mentioning, we're still finalizing the spells and all that stuff. So the spell names, of course, exist, but it's just the finer details of percentages and damage and that kind of thing. So next week during our streams, we will be able to show off all the new dragons and Teres, the dragon rider. So tune in next week and we'll have all that info for you.
Perfect. All right, let's talk about the 2 most important parts of the Dragon Rider, which are the Dragon Rider skills, and then the stats on the gear itself. So, as you know, Dragon Riders can have a variety of skills, but there are 2 skills that I believe are the most important in terms of determining the power impact they have on that dragon. There are some other really useful utility skills, such as Resist, Dragon XP increases, reducing dragon training cost, impact of, gosh, what am I thinking of? Anyway, But the two most important really are the HP and attack increase in terms of like the direct impact they have on your dragon's raw power.
Right.
So for what I'm going to show now is sort of a comparison of the Seasoned Dragon Riders we released already, and then where Teres lines up as just the Dragon Rider without any armor on it. So let's go and check it out.
Ta-da!
So Chris's head blocking, Crisis's head blocking.
It's a 12.
So Grog, of course, our first release Dragon Rider, had a 10 HP buff. This is max. So this is if you max all their skills, right? And you add in all of you have achieved all the shards and you max all of these specific skills. Then Grog will get a 10% HP buff and a 9.5% dragon attack buff. Kayla gets a 6 and a 5. Kayla had a lot other different utility skills. Again, this is not the total power of these Dragon Riders, but these are the sort of raw stat boosts that they provide. Tor provided 8 and 8, and Oksana, sort of the glass cannon, if you will, gave a 7 HP buff and a 12 dragon attack buff. So, Teres will provide 10 or 12 HP buff. So if you max out all of Teres' skills, you'll get a 12% buff to your the HP on your dragon and a 10% buff to the attack of your dragon. So this is the highest of any seasoned dragon released so far when you combine these two together. So in and of himself, very powerful dragon rider.
Indeed. Sorry, I'm just leaning a little bit right now.
I see. Yeah, you look like. All right. Next, let's talk about a gear, and then we can discuss the Dragon Rider holistically. So,
I will continue leading.
If you look at each gear set, so this is if you max the gear set, each their combined power. So gear buffs just HP and attack. Each piece of gear either buffs HP and attack, but combined they buff the dragon's HP and attack. So if you add up all of Grog's gear together, you get a 10% buff to HP, and you get a 10% buff to your dragon attack. The same is true for Kayla, same is true for Tor, same is true for Oksana. You can see that there was a pattern here. Now, Veteran Rider gear, wait, is that right? Is that 25?
You wrote it. You were the one. It's more than double there, yeah.
Seems very strong. Maybe that's, I don't know. So Teres's gear, the Veteran Dragon Rider gear, is going to provide a 25% buff to HP and a 25% buff to dragon attack.
Right, and
I will the full set.
I will remind everyone, as you can see, like as I continue with my finger going this way, it just sort of stays at 10, and then it more than doubles for this Dragon Rider.
It's 2.5 times.
Yes.
To be exact.
Yes, 2.5. So quite literally.
2.5.
Yeah.
The math
That's how math works, yeah.
The math adds up.
But it really does prove just how much of a boost this sort of Dragon Rider is and can be for your dragons.
Yes. Now this is specifically for a fire dragon, right? So this, this Veteran Rider gear will apply to fire dragons. All right. Now at this point we can discuss this Dragon Rider. Are there any questions that people have about it?
Someone was just commenting that Teres is Arboreous Knight. That is correct. Arboreous Knight is a portrait that's currently in the game. It's more of the green hue to it. Teres, of course, has more of that red one now and is turning into a Dragon Rider. So that's what we've got so far.
Okay. Anything else? Questions?
No, not that I can see. Just a lot of folks talking about different streams.
Yep.
Got it. Well, so at this point, you are able to see the power of this Veteran Dragon Rider. Will we do more in the future? Probably. I think they're really interesting. I think it's fun to be able to do 2 Dragon Riders a season, have these different trees.
Totally.
We'll see how Teres performs. It's definitely a very strong buff.
Yeah, quite.
Because it takes your dragon up 25% from a both HP. Well, I guess combined, you're at 37% HP buff and a 35% attack buff.
Yep.
You add that on any dragon.
It's
going to be significant for sure. Yes, it absolutely will.
So in terms of Teres's other skills, we're going to reveal those on Tuesday on our blog. This is more of just a picking two of the biggest buffs that get added to your dragon.
These will probably have the most impact. The gear in particular, I think, is really what sets a veteran rider apart. This gear threshold is just significantly higher than any season gear we've put out before. The innate spells on the Dragon Rider itself will also be stronger than the regular Dragon Riders, as you've seen. So it will be that next tier there. So let's say you want to use Kayla with the fire gear. You are welcome to do that instead and get those combined buffs.
Cool. Yeah. So we are not able to show any of the dragons actually flying today, as mentioned earlier. If you are tuning in now, PG Coffee mentioned that the dragon spells are being finalized at the moment with our team. So that's more so just getting all the percentages and things like that locked down. So next week on our stream, so Wednesday on Twitch, Thursday on Facebook Live, and right here in a week on YouTube Gaming, we will be flying all of these dragons in those streams, as well as showing off Teres. So please tune in next week for that. We don't have them ready today.
Awesome. All right. What else should we talk about when it comes to Teres?
Let's see what questions we got.
We'll see if we get more questions.
Yes, there will be no discount on the next 3 releases. So Teres, Saura, and 4 will not have a discount. Oksana was the last discount of the season.
Mm-hmm. I know Teres, the gear is obviously fire element, so there's no current Springville dragons that Teres can bond to.
Well,
or Korthanak. I was going to say. Korthanak is the big one. Prior to that, there's also Leos. If you happen to get Leos back in the Wintertide season, which was our discount warrior, he can also bond to Teres, so that would be a good choice. I think so. I love Leos.
Yeah, I still haven't made my full decision as to whether or not I'm going for Teres or I might try and get up into the Korthanak.
For Korthanak, yeah. Well, see, for me,
debating.
I got Abron. I'm working on Nullig now. I don't know if I'm going to get Korthanak. I think I might, move on and try to go for either, Saura or 4. I'm thinking 4, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
4 is going to be a very high skill cap dragon.
Yeah.
And I sort of want to pick up 4 just because it's going to have to make me become a better flyer.
Right. It's going to force you to do better.
The white it's sort of the Necrix type of white disable combined with some sort of invisibility spell is just it's a really powerful but difficult combo. Mm-hmm. And I've seen that in certain players' hands just be so powerful. So I really want to learn how to use that more effectively. So I think for that reason, I'm probably going to pick that up.
So people would like to know how much in terms of sigils is Teres going to cost?
Okay, so we can go back.
So I can actually go, yeah.
The first slide. So this is sort of been the same since we announced this season. So Korthanak was 22,000. Teres will also be 22,000. So you
may be able to see the little 22 up there.
I apologize, it's a little bit small. But Saura will be 28,000, just like Abron was, or Airbeen was, excuse me.
Yes.
Abron. And then 4 will also be 28,000. Mm-hmm. So if you finish both of those 2 branches, then you unlock the ability to move down the Teres branch, and the Teres branch will be 22,000, the same as the Korthanak branch. So you see the symmetry here.
Yes, we can leave this up for a second.
Sure.
Yeah. Cool. Yes, we are going to be talking about Kingdom Wars in just a little bit. We're waiting for PG Squirrel to join us. It should be in just a few minutes, so we can take some questions now while PG Coffee is still with us, and then PG Squirrel will join us for the remainder of Kingdom Wars. So we're going to go over a recap of it, and then some strategies behind it, and what are best practices, and then also take some questions from you guys.
Is there going to be another red evolving discount dragon? We're not doing that this season. We could do that next season, but I would definitely, if we were going to do that, I would announce it at the start of the season. I really want people to have full transparency into the season, so this is what is going to be released for the Springville season at this time. But I think the red evolving discount dragons are fun, and I think doing those later in the season can be fun, although obviously it's frustrating to players if they don't know about it at the beginning of the season.
Totally.
So it's something we'll consider for summer season because I do think they are fun, but we would announce it at the start of the season.
Yep. Cool.
Is the 25% boost final? Yes, the 25% boost is final.
I see just a lot of squirrel emojis.
Yeah, I see a lot of squirrels.
We'll get the damn
not a
squirrel.
lot of coffee emojis. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not a lot in there.
Can we use
Go
cats for
cry
Summer
into my
Divine?
coffee.
Yes.
I would love if we
Yes.
had cats for Summer Divine.
Yeah, I would love
Cats.
that too.
Why?
It's
Yeah.
Why is there no
Cats with
divine
wings.
dragon with druid-like skills? We're back on the druid hype.
All this druid talk.
Druid.
Yeah, Druid's,
Yep.
Druid's gotten a lot of love in the past
Really?
week or so, yeah.
Yep.
I think it's because, Chunk he's a parent of Chunk.
Oh,
So
I
it
see.
could have brought him back into the spotlight,
Chunk.
Ah,
More
Chunk.
More chunks, please.
Yes, we will try, yeah.
I flew with Druid for quite a while.
There you go, see, you got some coffee
Are
emojis
there
in there.
any
Thank
more
you.
events
Needed
being
that.
released, or just Kingdom Wars for now?
Kingdom Wars is the one that's coming around the corner right now. There is another one that we're going to be kicking off pretty soon that I've been working on that I'm very excited about. So we are always working on new content. I love the idea of major events and trying to make them great. I think they can be super fun. So we have just Kingdom Wars coming right now in terms of a new major event this season. However, we're working on something new.
Yeah, should be good.
In
Now
the
there's
future.
coffee emojis.
Yes.
There's
for
lots
you.
of coffee, yeah.
You
Yeah.
got
And then the Druid
the
hype.
best.
Druid hype is real.
And squirrel versus coffee. Squirrel kicks the coffee.
Okay, all right.
Well then.
All right, I appreciate this though. I needed this. Okay, well,
Like there's
it's pretty
the back
great.
and forth.
on that note, I don't want to shortchange Squirrel with.
Well, this is your
It's time.
event. I mean,
It's
you're
my stream.
You're the
you
one
know,
who's supposed to be
so,
running this.
If there are no more questions about Teres, I mean, he's a little easier to understand than the dragons because there's not the stats that we have to wait on in terms of exactly how those get balanced. It's more of a raw boost to HP attack.
But showing off, of course, because Teres is at the top of another line of the Springville season, it of course there's a reason for it, and we want to make sure that you guys are all familiar with just how powerful this Dragon Rider can be to your dragons. So hopefully this explained it.
Will there be any other event retiring other than King of the Hill? It's a question
I
for
believe
you.
I talked about it on the last stream. Well, not last.
A couple
was it
weeks
last
ago.
week or 2
Yeah.
weeks ago?
It was a
that,
couple weeks ago.
We are hoping to retire and planning to retire Territory, I think, or Conquer.
Yes.
We use two names internally, as well as Tug of War / Capture the Flag. And there are reasons for both of those.
That were explained in our, I think it was our Twitch stream a couple of weeks ago.
Yes,
So
so
if
I
you're
talked about
interested,
that then. You can check it out. I love major events. I really want to make them as best as they can be. I hope you are enjoying the King of the Hill retirement party.
Yes.
And I really hope you enjoy Kingdom Wars.
Yes.
When it comes out, because I was just playtesting it today, and I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
That was a fun playtest.
Yeah,
That was.
it was good. I liked it. It's gonna be a fun time. I hope.
We definitely
both
ganged up on one of our teammates.
Yes.
And attacked him from both sides.
He deserved it, so
that's what you
he
get.
earned it.
Nice.
Happened.
What's a veteran rider resist? I don't think Dragon Riders have resist.
No, they do.
They do.
I mean,
Okay.
they
It will
Oh,
be
the specific
it will
resist.
be shared on our blog on Tuesday, so keep an eye out.
Yes. All the details that we have not explained here, which are actually very few at the end of the day, will also be written in our blog. It's coming out next week.
Will Team Quest Team Reward chest? What will the Team Quest Team Reward chest be like? Is it listed anywhere? If you click on the chest itself in Team Quest and you click the arrow on the right, you can see what the contents of every chest are, and you can gauge what is going on in those ones.
Yeah, you can scroll.
Will there be a Teres portrait? So there will not be a portrait in the Teres branch. We have not put portraits in the either the Mythic Dragon or the Veteran Rider branch. I feel that players who want to get to, want to be able to access portraits, we've made them free and at the at least the level 1 at the start of every single branch or near the start of it. So it's really easy for players to access if they really identify with one of the specific portraits. I feel that if we put one in the Teres branch that was something that people really liked, then I think some players would feel that it was unfair that they weren't able to access that.
Right.
So we can talk about doing portraits in the the mythic and veteran rider branches, but I think portraits are a really fun way to express your identity as a player, and I don't want players to feel gated from the season portraits, at least, which I think are really amazing.
Totally. I know a lot of folks on chat are talking about team quests. I recently made an update to that yesterday and this morning. So all of that information is on the forums. If you have any feedback for specific team quests or just team quests in general, we are listening and would love to get your information on the forums. There's a couple threads going, so please check out those and voice your opinions there so that our team can sort of collect that data for next week.
Yes, we listen to everything as much as we can possibly read.
It's
a lot.
It is.
As much as we can digest in a given day.
Yes. Tony Wren, you dropped your phone into the pool.
That's unfortunate.
Why? Well, you need one of those like waterproof ones so you can play dragons and do like little like dog paddles at the same time in the pool.
Dragon paddles.
Dragon paddles, if you will. Yes.
Like, pretty sure I'd drown. Pretty sure I'd drown.
I would think it would be fun. I don't know about the ocean though. Be careful with the ocean.
The ocean sounds like a bad life choice.
Yeah.
In all respects. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna message PG Squirrel and see where he is.
Alright, someone wants a portrait of a girl with a brown hair. Alright. I can talk with our team.
Likely to happen in the future.
No girls or women with brown hair?
Does Kayla have brown or black hair? I think she has like either very dark brown or black hair.
Kayla?
Mm-hmm. Her first portrait, not the final.
Black. I thought it was black, but I might not be. Remember, I'm also colorblind.
Yeah, that's true.
That is a thing.
What are you talking about?
Well,
color over here?
Sort of has brown hair, right? I mean, it's.
Well, sure, if you count the bark on her face.
Bark. I'm not sure if that's a thing. Can we have a chunk portrait? That would be
Everyone's
awesome.
like, oh.
I would love a chunk
I
portrait.
would love that too. That would be so great.
If it was animated, animated chunk portrait,
so
that
cute.
would make my day.
That would be great. I'd be here for it.
People would like to know where your stolen Nissan coffee mug is.
I don't go anywhere without it.
He has it, guys.
Guys, this is my stream. I'm not gonna not bring my Nissan coffee on my stream.
That everyone knows.
Crisis talking about, he drinks tea in the afternoon. You know what, Crisis? I like to sleep. Okay. At some point, you can't.
If you name
drink
yourself
coffee
PG Coffee, what do we expect from you?
Then I only drink coffee the entire day. I have to consume other beverages at some point.
I don't know, man.
Oh man. Goodness.
All right. Well, let me go get Squirrel.
Yes.
Cool.
And,
go get the squirrel.
You guys can have a fun time.
All
right.
is the
Goodbye.
only one with brown hair.
Bye.
We will see you later. Thank you for joining us, PG Coffee.
Goodbye, coffee.
Goodbye. So long. Wow, so fast. You are really good at that. Well, hello. All right, let's get some
portrait
updated.
that blows bubbles. Make it happen. I want that portrait in my life.
I would
want
be down.
that so much.
Yep.
How are you guys?
Good.
You're great.
Doing well?
Doing well. Yeah.
Yeah, ready.
Welcome
Oh
to
my god,
YouTube
we
Gaming.
really are all. Oh
Yeah.
man, we're
Oh,
all
yeah.
matching.
Oh man, PG Coffee was the only one
Yeah, he didn't.
Yeah.
Coordinate.
See, that's how you know it really is your stream. He was going on about how this is his stream.
Oh no.
See?
I'm stealing the show.
You already know. It's perfect.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man, that's great. So welcome, PG Squirrel, to your first
Thank
YouTube
you.
Gaming stream.
Yeah.
It's nice to see you back
Thanks for
here
having
for
me.
a third day straight.
A third day straight. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been
My
a good
new
time.
job.
Yeah, basically.
Just join us forever.
Yeah, so we've got lots to talk about in terms of Kingdom Wars, which is the first, not first, but I guess newest event that is coming to War Dragons.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of you guys have probably already heard it in the streams yesterday and the day before, but yeah, it's our latest project. We've been working on it for a while, and we're really excited to share it with you guys and get you guys playing it for the first time, and kind of see what you guys do with it, where it takes you.
Yeah. Cool. All right, so we're going to go over just a brief recap of the basic mechanics of Kingdom Wars, and then PG Squirrel is going to talk a lot about the strategy behind them, and then what sort of best tips and successful ways. Yes, tips and tricks. So let's get started.
Yeah, so a lot of you have probably already seen this map by now, but this is the new map for Kingdom Wars. It's pretty cool, yeah. Our team did a really good job. It has a much more immersive feel to it than previous maps we had for major events, and actually like kind of goes hand in hand with the War Dragons fantasy. And yeah, so you'll see there's a bunch of different icons on there. We'll be going over what those are in a second. And yeah, so we can get
let's
started
do
with
it.
that now.
Yeah. All right, starting out with capitals.
Yeah, so basically every team will be starting off in a capital. Every team only has one capital, and they cannot be conquered or lost. Oh, you're covering it.
This is like my life today.
Yeah, actually.
It's okay. I'll cover that bullet right now so that you can.
Okay, cool.
Get back
Cool.
up. So teams are assigned a capital at random at the beginning of every event. So now you can put
Ta-da!
Perfect.
So it's pretty much going to always be someone is in a random place that might not feel great. And some will be in a place that feels better.
Like
So,
Crisis right now.
Yeah.
Yes. That was great. Perfect.
Yeah, so every time you play the event, you'll be in a different spot, basically. We think that's actually really cool because then every time you play it, it actually feels slightly different, and you have to use different strategies. You're next to different teams with different strengths and weaknesses, and then also like the landmarks and that are around you will be in different directions, different like proximity. So we're pretty excited about it. Yeah, and then one important thing is that capitals can't be conquered or lost, so we don't want people to get kicked off the map halfway through the event.
Yeah, so your capital is your capital for the whole event. Nobody can take it from you. Surrounding lands can be contested, but nobody can ever take over your capital.
Exactly, so it kind of serves as your home base, and you can always kind of begin your conquest no matter when your team starts to become like really active during the week. So yeah, next we have just the regular territories. So these, as you're conquering them, you just gain points over time. Oh, sorry, here, they start off as Blackblood's territory.
They do. They start off as Blackblood's territory.
They're the easiest to conquer, and they're the most common. So yeah, nothing crazy about it. It's pretty straightforward.
Right.
These are basically the ones you'll be conquering in order to get to the minor monuments.
Minor monuments, yeah.
Exactly. So these grant more points over time. They're harder to conquer, and they're less common. They're strategically located across the map so that every team has access to at least some of them, and you can kind of come up with strategies with your team on how to best conquer them. They also, just like all the other territories, they start off as Blackblood's territory. All the territory will actually start off owned by the Blackbloods Guild. And the Blackbloods Guild consists of various team members that have different levels of bases, and then if you attack the higher level bases, you also are rewarded more points. So the levels are scaled based on which league you're in, so hopefully there will be a good challenge no matter what league you're in, but obviously I realize that there's some high level players in lower leagues that might have an easier time, but generally speaking, hopefully there'll be like some variation for you guys, so it doesn't feel super boring as you're doing this like PvE phase initially and expanding your kingdom.
Right. Makes sense. Moving on to major.
Yeah, exactly. So these are the least common, they grant the most points, and they're the toughest to conquer. And also we'll be starting off as Blackblood's territory. There's 5 of these on the map, so for it works out nicely. 25 teams can fight over 5 big ones. The way the points will end up working out that you gain over time for these, the minor and the major monuments, is that actually you should be able to still compete with a team that's holding the major monument. Let's say it's a super good team like Dreadnought is holding that. You might be able to still compete with them just by holding the minor monuments instead. So you can actually like come up with some cool strategies of maybe you own a lot of the less valuable land rather than trying to go for the super contested land.
Right. So the strategy comes into play.
Yeah, exactly. So people will have to make choices between what they want to do. Obviously, you can try to go for the major monument and the minor monuments at the same time.
Right.
It's just you'll have to be ready to defend a lot of your land. So. Yeah, so this is something people were asking about in the previous streams, like, can I mark the different territories? Well, that works.
I'm already really short.
I'm just gonna stay down here for a little bit.
I'm not even sure where it is on my chart. I'll find it.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah, so basically the leaders and officers will have some tools ready because this is probably one of the most like strategy heavy major events that we've had so far. There will be the same team objective box that you have in Fight Pits right now, so you can then set exactly like what your general objective is
Sorry.
for your team.
We're
You're
good.
still too tall. Still too tall.
It's like the extreme short version.
Now I
of
just look like a giant.
You're like, ah.
Okay, I'm not actually that tall in real life. But then we'll also have this tool. So this is the icon for the attack order. So basically, the leaders and officers will be able to basically place these icons around the map and show their team exactly what they should be conquering.
Gotcha.
You can right now place up to 5 of these, so you can kind of like you can even like draw a bit of a path, like if you want to do that, or you just mark the landmarks that you want to attack. So the leaders and officers can really like do what they want with these.
That's
and
pretty cool,
everyone
though.
on your team will see them.
cool.
Yeah, it's great to be able to, you know, communicate this kind of thing to all team members without having to explicitly like call people out or send messages, and you know, make it also almost like automates the process and helps you
Exactly.
get exactly where you want to go and like look at your priorities the way that you need
Yeah,
them.
and that was the intention. And then you still have the team objective box, so like if you're ever like not online to set the next marker, you can just say what the general objective is for your team, like which landmarks they should generally be going for. So
Or like
that
which
will help as
direction
well.
to go as well
Or
in
which
the map.
direction, which teams to stay away from.
Right, right.
Maybe you guys start forming alliances in some way.
It's possible, yeah.
Who knows? Like you
Yeah.
like you have some kind of alliance where you stay away from other teams. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's all
So
illegal.
question from chat for you.
Yeah.
Is there a count for how many minor monuments there will be?
Yes, but it's not final. So there will be around. So don't quote me on this, but there will be around 14 or 15 minor monuments placed around the map.
So roughly 20 monuments in total, because you've got 5 major.
Exactly.
Roughly 10 to 15 minor, give or take.
Exactly.
Whatever the final number ends up being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, as I mentioned in previous streams, is that's something that can change from event to event. Like each time we run it, we'll be looking at data like which monuments get conquered most, which ones are the most.
Yeah. What's the
valuable.
popular land?
Exactly. What are people trying to go for?
Yeah.
Maybe which capitals have slightly greater disadvantages than others, and then we'll be trying to actually like adjust the starting positions or the monuments based on that to try to make the map as fair as possible. Obviously, it's very rare that in a game you have 25 teams battling and trying to create a map that's completely perfectly balanced for 25 teams.
Yep.
But I think we did a good job with this, and then we can make tweaks as we keep running this event.
Sounds good. All right.
Yeah.
So maybe I can come up a little bit.
A little.
Like, I need
Just that much.
Yeah.
Try and stay low.
So this is one of the key mechanics for Kingdom Wars, and is why it's called Kingdom Wars. So you have the concept of kingdoms. So kingdoms is all territory that is connected to your capital, either directly, the hex is next to it, or through other territories that you have. But it just has to be connected to your capital in some way. And you can actually only attack other territory that's adjacent to your kingdom. So here right now on this slide, you see that all these like dots that you see around the borders, those are the ones that you're able to attack at the moment. Almost there.
Yeah.
There you go.
So in this particular screenshot,
Yes.
the green capital is your capital, like it's your team's capital.
Exactly. And then
And the conquered land is previously conquered land is the sort of highlighted green lands.
yeah, exactly. So the highlighted green lines is everything that is part of your
already
kingdom at the moment.
Right. That is
You can see you're currently in control of a major monument and the 2 minor monuments in this one. And yeah, the dots represent like which you can attack
right.
next.
So in this one, you've done a really good job of surrounding another enemy capital and only 2 of
Exactly.
their lands that they own.
Yes, but then there's also actually right now, as it is right now, you're actually very vulnerable.
Right.
Because if you notice, and if we go to the next slide, that's where this kingdom mechanic comes in. you can be cut off very easily.
Right,
So as soon as territory is cut off from your kingdom, meaning it's disconnected from your capital, basically, you're actually not able to attack those other territories anymore.
Oh, I see. So the dots have disappeared now because it's not directly connected to your capital.
Exactly. So there's some strategy around that because, and we'll go over it more later, but you had, if you go back to the previous slide, you can actually see that it was you left this very like narrow piece of land in your kingdom, and that made it really vulnerable.
Right. So it's that one hex that Arlena's pointing to that's a little bit higher. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That one.
But where the camera's cutting out too, but yes, it is on its way up there.
Exactly. So
gotcha.
You still gain points for the territory that's cut off from your kingdom, but you only gain points for it as long as you own it, and if it's cut off, it's actually much more vulnerable to other enemies.
And not really able to defend either.
You can't defend it, and that means you're likely to lose it much quicker. So the best thing here to do here in this case is trying to like somehow reconnect your kingdom as quickly as possible before your enemies start taking advantage. So for example, the red capital there that just cut you off, they now can start going for that major monument because you're not able to defend it in any way. So that's probably would be their next move potentially.
Right, makes sense.
Yeah.
In your opinion, do you think it's better to sort of try and expand as rapidly as possible, or try and build up a strong sort of base of your territory as you go?
Yeah, that's a good question. We'll go over that in a couple more slides because I want to go over the defense mechanism first before I go into like those trade-offs.
That is an important part of this, I imagine.
Yeah, it is very.
So we do have a question about will people at all levels be able to participate and receive rewards in this event?
Yeah, for sure. For example, the PvE territories initially, they have different level bases. There's always ones that have lower level bases, and then there's the ones that are higher level that you get more points for. But the point is that you basically, even if you're a lower level, you still have those lower PvE ones that you can attack. And then once it comes to PvP, you should also obviously be able to participate the same way that you usually do in other major events. And then obviously at lower leagues, so the HP of the individual territories is also scaled based on which league you're in. So obviously like leagues that are a little bit less active, like Silver for example, the territory's HP is lower, so that because we know that because they're less active, we still want them to conquer things. Whereas like if you go to Diamond, the HP is much, much higher because we know that they're going to be like putting in the hours or like putting in the time to actually be conquering the map and like expanding their kingdom a lot. So all leagues should be able to participate, but those are also numbers that we'll be looking at really closely as we're running this event for the first time and seeing what we can tweak to make it feel as good as possible to the players. Yeah.
Cool. Sounds good. So defending your territory.
Yeah. So defending. So we technically don't have a dedicated defense mechanism. So it's not like King of the Hill where you can have like the barricades that you have to buy or that you have to consume. So the reason we wanted to stay away from that is because we felt like it adds too much complexity and it really isn't that much fun to the players to use. So we figured that the funnest part really is to like attack and to conquer territories and be expanding your kingdom. So we wanted the defense mechanism for this actually to be just related to that. So the best way for you to defend a territory is by conquering the territory that you're being attacked from, because once you do that, you actually you're pushing them back and you're stopping them from attacking that territory. So in this example, this person is, let's say they're being attacked from the top there from that team. The best way of actually protect themselves from being cut off is, if you go to the next slide, is if they actually just launch a counter-offensive, basically. The arrows are slightly off there, but...
So the best defense is an attack.
It is an attack, yes.
Interesting.
And that actually brings us to like our next element, like our next piece is, and what Crisis was asking earlier, whether you should be going for like the fast expansion or the slow expansion, because it ties into that pretty heavily.
There's someone named John in chat who's calling you out for saying the word funnest. They say that funnest isn't a word, Squirrel.
Yeah, it is. Definitely is a word.
Definitely not, but that's okay.
That's okay.
We'll talk about it later.
I think it's common enough. People understand.
Just because it's common doesn't mean it's a word.
Oh, yeah, true.
It's not in the dictionary.
That's like when people say first of all and then second of all. Like, that's wrong. Sorry for anyone who says that out there, but it's true.
What about last of all?
No, lastly. First of all, secondly, thirdly, and thus.
Yeah, true.
And that's how you end it. Anyway, please continue.
So here, how do we best expand our territories? So I think there's kind of two different approaches to this. There's the high risk, high reward approach. So that's basically you're expanding as fast as possible. You're trying to race to the landmarks as quick as you can, and while that might give you a lot of points because you might be the first to get the landmark, it also kind of puts you in a vulnerable position because you can then, as you see in the screenshot here, your territory or your kingdom is super narrow and it's really vulnerable to being cut off by enemies.
Right.
So once your kingdom's cut off, you're very likely to be losing that monument again. So if we go to the next slide, you'll see that exactly. So here, this team, for example, they took more time expanding their kingdom. Probably it's like the slow and steady approach where you kind of build it out more widely and then you might reach the monuments slower and conquer them slower. But then once other teams start, once you start getting into PvP and other teams start attacking you, you're able to actually defend much better. So what we were saying earlier, like the defense mechanism, if you would launch a counter attack, right? But if you only have one territory basically that's adjacent to the enemy's kingdom, then when you're conquered, then there's no way for you to continue defending yourself. But let's say if you have this more wide approach, then you actually, because the way hexes work is that you still actually have a hex that's adjacent to the enemy.
Right.
So you can, even if you lose one of your territories, you can continue to attack them and you don't...
Right.
You can continue your progress on their territory.
And that's sort of the benefit of having a hexagonal map.
Yeah.
Is that those sort of strategies comes into play because you don't necessarily have to have a full surrounding of a territory that you'd like to attack. All you need is one adjacent sort of neighborly side, which can be multiple ways. It doesn't have to be just one way. There's many ways that the map can sort of end itself out.
Exactly. So if you're in possession of a monument, there's probably a few different ways where you can actually try to defend it, once you're in control of it. And so either you probably want to start attacking the surrounding territories so that you can best, basically it takes longer for enemy teams to get to the monument.
Right.
But then as the attacker, you can either just try to attack the monument straight on, or you can kind of try to surround it yourself first and cut the enemy kingdom off and then try to take the monument. So it depends on which option. I don't know which one's best yet. We'll find out.
But there are options.
There are options. Yeah. There's choices for you guys.
Which is pretty cool. Yeah.
And what's actually really cool is if you see that an enemy team is making progress on a monument, and let's say they're 70% there and have almost conquered it, then you can actually launch a quick attack to cut them off. Yeah, you can actually just cut them off from it, and then they're kind of stuck on that 70% because they're not able to continue attacking it.
Right.
So while they're trying to reconnect their kingdom to the monument somehow, you actually have this free time of where you can attack the monument as much as you want, and you don't have to worry about them getting to the 100% before you.
Right.
So there's a lot of cool race elements to it. And there should be some really cool choices you guys have to make.
Totally, yeah. I for one absolutely love hexagonal maps. I mean, I am a gigantic fan of Settlers of Catan, the game.
Yeah.
So this is very much up my alley in terms of strategy and decision making and just how things fit on a board together and what's my area of claimed territory versus, you know, my neighbors and my enemies, and how can I best sort of end up taking over.
Exactly.
So,
and it has a lot of like risk kind of
yes,
like elements.
very much.
there,
Yeah.
Which I know people like a lot. So
There's also a lot of, if you go one direction and someone decides to start attacking you, then you definitely are going to end up being like, nope, 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 your kingdom is now mine. Good luck.
Yep.
What happened in our play?
Of war.
Definitely what happened during our playtest.
Yeah, got pretty competitive during our playtest.
Yeah,
It really did.
So it's really interesting, and I'm so excited to see the final maps of everyone at the end of our first event. This, of course, is an example of what the end of a Kingdom Wars map could look like at the end of an event, but everyone's is going to be different based on the groups that you're with and the way that people conquer territories and all that stuff, so it's never going to be the same, which I think is really, really cool.
Exactly, yeah. And then
I'm going to scooch back up
as you can see here, like, obviously, this is like, the map will look different from every player's perspective. Your team will always be the green one, and the enemy teams always be the red. We wanted to get away from like the Conquer the World design where we had lots of different colors and it got kind of messy and cluttered. So here it's very clear of like, it's your team against the world, and you're trying to make the greatest kingdom that you possibly could.
Right,
So.
yeah. How are reward points going to be distributed? Is it based on how much land you own plus the monuments?
Yeah, good question. So for the team, it's very similar as to Conquer the World. So it's basically just the more territories you own, the more points you get over time. Obviously, for the monuments, you get more points than just for the regular ones. Then on the individual basis, it's actually just the amount of damage you inflict to these territories that correlates directly with the individual points you're receiving. So it's a very simple scoring mechanic. So the more damage you do to territories, the more points you get. And then there's the standard multipliers that we have in other events as well. So attacking the minor and major monuments will actually give you slightly more points than attacking the regular ones. And then obviously, as I said earlier, there's depending on which level of PvE base you attack, the more you can get a little bit more points as well.
Right.
So there's obviously some like different like multipliers in there, and then we have the same level multiplier for the PvP teams. So if you attack the higher level members on enemy teams, then you get more points for that.
Cool. Sweet. Sounds good. Well, thanks for this rundown. I mean, especially strategy-wise, it was very insightful for me to understand what I should be doing when this event goes live. If anyone in chat has any questions for PG Squirrel while he is still here for the remainder of our stream, please feel free to post that in chat and we'll try and get some of those questions to him. And yeah, we've got about, 5 or so minutes left, maybe, 7, something like that. So any questions that you may have, please let us know. And even if it's just, how are you related to squirrels, which I'm about to ask you.
No, do I have to answer
yes,
that right
you
Oh, no, she will stare you down until you answer her.
Actually, I don't think I'm related to squirrels, but I think...
Okay, that's a good start.
I think I have a special bond with them. I think they respect me a lot. So when I like walk in the park and I see a lot of squirrels just stop and look at me and they like give me a slight nod and they're like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, yeah, what's up, squirrel? And it's just kind of... So it's kind of just like a mutual like level of respect that we have. So I think
there's an unspoken bond there.
There's an unspoken bond, yeah. So
man.
Like, I see them just trying to eat a nut or something. I'm like, yeah, I respect that. You're just trying to find a nut. That's all. Yeah.
Wow. Out of all the things you could have said, I definitely didn't expect that. So thank you. That was quite enlightening.
Yeah, I was not expecting that one.
Yeah.
So to Capitan, I have seen your message on the forum. I will answer you in a little bit, but we did ship them out for the March Creative Contest. So be prepared. It is coming.
Indeed.
Hopefully it doesn't get delayed by the rain.
Yeah, it should be okay. It's just been a
Hopefully.
little rainy today, but it shouldn't be that bad once it actually gets shipped
Hopefully.
out. Yeah. it's fine.
Squirrel whisperer.
Yes.
Commands them to do this.
Yes, very much.
Oh, goodness.
Will you release exact skills of dragons in terms of cooldown? And so on the forum, yes, we will. That will be a next week thing. So all of the things we have not talked about here, which are specifics in terms of percentages and things like that, that will be announced on our blog next week, and we will also be able to post that on the forums as well. So all that info is coming next week, and we will also show off all the dragons next week flying in a base. We are not doing that today because, like I said, the spells are not fully finalized at the moment. So once they are, we'll be able to show them off, and that will be a next week thing. So definitely tune into our streams next week. We will be going pretty deep into dragon flying, showing off Teres, the dragon rider, and all that good stuff. So yeah.
Let's see what else we got going on in chat.
A lot of in-game names, of course, for our giveaway. Also, for those who are interested, please be sure you are subscribed to War Dragons on YouTube Gaming, or just YouTube in general. Either way, that is the only way for you to be considered as a winner for the weekly giveaway. So you need to be subscribed and type your in-game name into chat. So please be sure you do that.
Let's see what else we got going on. Okay. Way back there.
I think I saw something along the lines of, would there be wooden barricades to defend territory? And I believe the answer is no, but you would know more.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but there won't be any barricades or like special consumables, like not like King of the Hill. We just thought those added too much like unnecessary complexity. So we want people to really focus on the strategy of like the map and the hexagons. So the strategy that we went over earlier. Right. We want that to be the core focus.
Sure.
Rather than like having to collect consumables.
Mm-hmm. Maybe another way to ask the question is, if I have a territory that I have, taken control of, and there's another team that's trying to take control of that, will it always be the same amount of HP on the territory that you must defeat in order to take it back?
Oh yeah, it's actually the same for now. Yeah, so it'll be the same. It's also it doesn't change from when it's PvE versus PvP. Mm-hmm. So it stays the same HP amount. Yeah.
Cool. Sounds good.
So when will we be able to see this event? It'll actually be in 2 weeks.
Yeah, very soon.
So next week is a minor event that PG Coffee totally leaked for us, so you can totally blame him. Blame Coffee for the leaks.
Okay. Yeah.
And the week
minor event next week.
And then the week after that is going to be Kingdom Wars. So in 2 weeks from this very day, you will be playing Kingdom Wars in War Dragons.
So on our streams that week, well, not Twitch, because it'll be
we're actually going to do something different
Hunt.
On Twitch, but I'll tell you more about that in a little bit. Yeah.
In Treasure Hunt phase during Twitch, so on Facebook and YouTube that week, we will be playing through some Kingdom Wars. But yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool.
All the good stuff. Yeah.
Cool.
If you have any other questions or updates or feedback or really anything, complaints, comments, love and affection, all that stuff, please feel free to head over to the forums. That's forums.wardragons.com. We are pretty frequent posters over there. PG Squirrel is a lurker, but he's also there too. Yeah. And PG Coffee as well. So if you have any thoughts on the new Springville Dragons or Kingdom Wars as an event, definitely head over there and start a discussion with us, and we will be there for sure.
Yes. If you are wondering what next week's streams are going to look like, we have talked about it, but we'll go over it just as a brief FYI. We're going to be showing off the new dragons and the new rider, so we're going to be showing off Saura and Thor and Teres. So we are ready for that.
They're really cool, so I'd be excited for it.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
But we will show it on all 3 streams, so make sure you tune in.
Yeah, whichever stream's your favorite, or whichever person is your favorite, or don't pick favorites and just hang out with all of us for all 3 streams. That's cool.
That's
too.
Just rude.
Yeah, but we'll be showing them off on all of them. Definitely Saura, Thor, and Teres for sure. And we'll talk a little bit more about Kingdom Wars, but for the most part, this is the information we have until the event goes live. So,
and we are ready and waiting.
Yes, I am super excited for this. I think it's going to be great, and just an opportunity to explore a new map and sort of get your hands dirty with a new way of playing. So,
exactly.
Yeah. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will see you all next week.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Yes.
Thanks,
have
guys.
a great rest of your weekend. If it's already started. If not, enjoy your weekend when it starts.
Yes. Have a wonderful time. And we will see you next week for showing off all these dragons. Alrighty.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.